Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Jungle Show. Today, we're here to discuss last week in Auburn basketball and take their first loss in Atlanta to the Memphis Tigers, and then come back home and get a close win on Wednesday against the Georgia State Panthers, and preview their upcoming West trip to play against USC on Sunday and Washington on Wednesday. All that before Christmas. All that and more next on the Jungle Show. Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Jungle Show. Glad that y'all could join us today. We are finally back live Friday at 6 p.m. Feels like old times. Feels like we're in the preseason again. But we've been doing a lot of recorded shows, but glad to be back live here on YouTube and Twitch on the Auburn Daily channel. And we got some basketball to talk about. We've got two games that we want to discuss. The Memphis game, obviously Auburn's first loss, and then the Georgia State game we'll talk about for a little bit, and then talk just very briefly about the two games out west, and then we'll do another episode late next week, kind of right before Christmas, to recap those two games and preview SEC play. We got two more games before we play Florida right after Christmas on the 28th. So to do that, to discuss it all, again, I brought in my dad, co-host right across from Dad. How are you?
Good. It's good to be back in the same room. Good to be back live. Hopefully people will interact with us a little bit tonight. Now we can ask some questions, make some comments. That's a tough week for Auburn basketball. So it's not going to be as sunshine and lollipops as it has been in the past. But that's all right. It's basketball. Basketball teams lose.
We're not going to go.
Haven't gone through a season undefeated since Indiana a long time ago. So it probably is not going to happen again this year.
Yeah.
Definitely not for Auburn. We ran into a buzzsaw in Memphis, and they took it to us.
Yeah, definitely. So getting right into talking about the Memphis game.
Terrible verb. What's that mean? I don't know what that means.
I don't know. So Auburn loses in Atlanta, 82-73 to the Memphis Tigers. Obviously, the first thing you want to mention about this game, and Coach Pearl mentioned it after in his post-game interview, and he just said, "We got out game planned, got out coached, got out hustled. They wanted to win better. They shot the ball better. They just played an overall better game for 40 minutes, and it really showed in the final score and in the game in general."
I really thought going into that game, I thought it's going to be a defensive game the whole time. Yeah. Both these defenses are really good, and I thought, maybe it's a 50-45 type of game, and Auburn scored 73 points.
Yeah.
But the problem was we gave up 82. We had not given up more than 66 before that, and we gave up 82. Memphis is a good team. Their point guard is very good, and they went on straight line drive after straight line drive and just tortured us. We have to be better defensively, and we have to finish defensive possessions with rebounds.
Yeah,
you don't get a rebound, you're not finishing the possession. And we're struggling rebounding the ball.
Yeah, I agree. And not only we're going to talk about rebounding in the Memphis game, we'll also talk about in the Georgia State game. Rebounding's got something that's got to be better. We talk about shooting that needs to be better. Obviously, Auburn shot 6 of 24 from 3-point land in this game. 1 of 7 for KD Johnson. I don't get it. I really don't. This game honestly made me speechless for the majority of it, and until about the end, where Auburn was looking like they run, maybe a few bad calls here and there. Bruce gets teed up.
Bruce thought so. Bruce definitely thought so. Memphis is a good team. They have a very good point guard. Their coach, who I usually don't like to give a lot of credit for, I loved him as a player, outcoached Bruce Pearl that game.
Yeah.
He had a better game plan. He managed this team better. And I don't say that very often.
No.
We didn't play well. I saw a lot of guys standing up straight on the defensive end and during rebounding time.
Yeah.
And if you're standing up straight, you're either tired or you don't give a crap. And I didn't like that's bad body language. There was one time defensive rebound area, and Janai was literally standing straight up underneath the goal, and somebody came around and got the ball and laid it back in. You can't have you can't have that, and it's unexplainable because this team is one that has been trying hard at every game that they've played in.
Yeah.
So it's a little surprising.
I would agree with that.
I think our offense was better. We shot 25%. We took the ball to the basket a lot more in that game. So our offense wasn't the problem. We scored 72 points or 73 points. When we score 73 points, I expect Auburn to win.
Yeah.
Our defense is good enough that teams shouldn't be able to score more than 70 points against us. And so we've been talking all year. Our offense has got to get better. Our offense has got to get better. But our defense will travel, and our defense will keep us in games. It kept us in a game, but it lost that Memphis game.
No, absolutely.
It lost it.
I 100% agree. If Auburn scores 73 points, they will win 90, 95% of the games that they play.
Absolutely.
Because of that defense. But that defense, I talk about the straight line drives from Peter Davis. DeAndre Williams was doing whatever he wanted to go on Traore.
Whatever he wanted.
Alex Lomack was playing really well for Memphis. They were getting to the free throw line as just as efficiently as Auburn was and making them. They weren't backing up threes. They had 13 less three-pointers attempted than Auburn, but made only 2 less. I mean, they shot obviously they shot more better. But going back to what you just said, and this comes with defense and offense, the rebounding is horrific in both of these games. Got out-rebounded by both of these teams, the two teams that you should not get out-rebounded by. Memphis is a very good, long, athletic team led by a bunch of seniors like we talked about last show. But there's no reason they should be out-rebounding you by 11.
No.
Absolutely not.
None.
So, and that's part of the reason you lost this game.
The other thing that we didn't do that we've been doing is blocking shots.
Yeah.
We couldn't block the shots.
That's 2 block shots.
Dylan Cardwell had both of them towards the end of the game, back to back. He's the reason we kind of got back in the game, to be honest with you. But if we're not blocking shots and we're not rebounding and finishing a defensive possession, then we are going to struggle. We're going to struggle against Alabama. We're going to struggle against Arkansas. We're going to struggle against Tennessee. We're going to struggle against Kentucky. I can go straight down the list of
SEC teams. You will struggle against 12 other SEC teams outside of maybe South Carolina. If you can't rebound or block shots like we have in the past. And look, Auburn, before that game, led the country in blocks and had 2 players in Janai Broome and Dylan Cardwell who were in the top 4 block percentage of 2-point shots attempted while they were on the floor. That's something that this team has got to take as like an identity. They need to
It's the defensive identity.
It is the defensive identity. You have really good on-ball defensive guards who know that if, say they take a chance at a steal, which we did a lot, you go back, you've got to have a block shot. You have an eraser behind you. And this year Cardwell's improved so much, we technically have 2 because Broome was really good at blocking shots, but you didn't get that in this game. And just like Dustin just said, the rebounding is so bad.
Wait till we talk about Georgia State.
Oh my God.
It was worse. So it's a loss. A lot of a lot of new. So if you don't follow college basketball a lot, and a lot of Auburn fans are new to the basketball world because we went through Tony Barbie and nobody wanted to watch that.
Who's that?
So you have to understand a lot of teams get beat this time of year, and a lot of the time it's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a good thing the coach can grab their attention now, can reach down inside their throat and see if their heart's actually beating, and can say, look, if you don't play hard, if you are standing straight up on defense, we're going to lose. And before, the players would probably could say, oh, we're winning now. So the game was frustrating. I know that. It's not football. It's not where if you lose, you're basically out. This is a thing where we got beat by a better team that day.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. Dustin says, it looks to me like fundamentals are the main issue on rebounding, hands and bad positioning. We were talking during the game about it looked like every loose ball or rebound was hitting our fingers, and we weren't grabbing the basketball. It was kind of falling off the fingers, and those dudes are athletic and angry and wanted to get the basketball from us. And if you're not in position, if you're not boxing out, and you're standing straight up, you're not ready for a rebound. You're not ready to play basketball. Basketball, you're in a defensive position stance the whole defensive time.
Yeah.
Even rebound. Because that's where you can jump. And they did not look ready.
Yeah.
And it cost us a game. But again, my thought was after that game, he can go, okay, see, you've got to rebound better for us to win. If you don't, we're going to lose. And then they played Georgia State. And the same thing happened.
Yeah, no, I talked a lot about on Dustin's podcast, the Uptempo podcast, which you can go check that out wherever you find your podcast or on YouTube. I said right after the Memphis game, I was like, there was not an issue against Memphis that Auburn had that Bruce Pearl and his staff can't go back to the practice court or the film room and fix right then and there.
Yeah,
there's not an issue. There's not. I mean,
Yeah.
technically, towards the end, especially of that game, there was like a hustle issue, but that's fixable. And they're not going to have hustle issues, especially inside the Neville Arena and against a Kentucky team or an Alabama team who's ranked to the top 5. Oh, God, that hurt me to say.
Mm-hmm.
But
they're good.
But there's not an issue that he can't go back and fix. Just like Dustin said, it looks like it's more fundamentals, bad positioning, bad hands. We can fix those things.
I think we can.
There's offensive sets that did not work that we can change. Defensively, getting straight line drive, that can be fixed, especially on the perimeter. Being able to, I mean, Zach Jasper can't get baseline driven right down. Katie Johnson can't just let somebody go right by him.
No,
especially if you're the quote-unquote erasers that we have behind us are out of position, which they were a lot. So there's not something that we can't fix from this Memphis loss. And exactly like you said, that's up to Bruce Pearl. And I don't think there's a guy in the country that I'd rather have than Bruce Pearl right now.
There's not.
So yes, it is a loss. Yes, it counts as 1 on the right side of the column. It's not just like you just said, Dad. It's not football. We're not out. Okay, we're 9-1. That's pretty good. Let's not take that for granted, but that's pretty good.
We're the same spot we were last year this time.
Yeah.
So and before everybody starts commenting and saying, but we don't have Jabari and Walker like we did last year this time. That's true. We may not be as good of a team as we were last year. And we may make it further in the tournament than we did last year this time because our guards are older. Now, I understand sometimes Win is that guy that you go, thank God he's out there.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, where did that shot come from? Why? There was a three he took against Memphis that I thought, I know your logo win and all that, but the logo shots are not going in right now. Let's get you to the bucket.
Yeah.
Because he has gotten much better finishing layups. Kyrie Irving's the best I've ever seen at doing it. Wynn's got some of that. Wynn's got some of the throw it up behind his head, spin it off the backboard, let it go in.
Yeah.
So I need him to get to the bucket more. I need KD to get to the bucket more. But let's, unless you want to do a player of that game, do you want to do a player?
I will.
Of the Memphis game?
I absolutely
who's your
will.
player of the Memphis game?
Chris Moore, no doubt about it. That guy looked, in terms of how poorly fundamentally we looked in that Memphis game overall, not just defensively but offensively as well. You know, shooting and hustle and not knowing where we are and getting out of position. Chris Moore looked like the best player on the floor.
12 points.
Outside of Kendrick Davis, he looked like the best player on the floor.
Yeah,
He was making plays. He hit 2 beautiful threes. He was.
He had 3 threes. He was 3 of 6 on 3.
Oh,
No,
I'm sorry.
No, I take that back.
Yeah.
2 of 2.
Yeah, no, he was 2 of 2.
12 points, 3 boards, 2 offensive.
He was 4 from the free throw line.
Yeah. Okay, so
That's Chris Moore.
I'll give it to Chris for playing great. I like Chris Moore. I think Chris Moore's starting to figure some things out. He's starting to go, okay, I'm not the post player that I was in high school. I've got to be the rebounder on the offensive glass. He also needs to be on the defensive glass. I've got to be a slasher. I've got to finish at the rim. He didn't finish that one at the rim late in the game, and that's when Bruce Pearl went ballistic. And I think he got his foot hit. Referee didn't see it. Should have been a foul. Wasn't called. But he still got to finish that and get a 3-point play instead of 2 free throws.
Yeah.
Because he tried to go to the other side of the rim and really didn't need to. Chris Moore needs to realize that Chris Moore is bigger and stronger than most of the guys on the other team, and then he can jump out of the gym, go up and dunk it on that side of the rim and get fouled that way. So I would agree. Chris Moore was the best player on Auburn's team by a long shot. That same Memphis team went into Coleman the next 2 nights later or whatever and gave Alabama all they wanted.
Lost by 3.
Lost by 3 points. So on one neutral for it. Although Atlanta probably wasn't neutral for them either. I think Penny
Hardaway said after the game, that was not really neutral. So,
great way to go, Auburn. Atlanta Auburn Club.
Yeah, no kidding. So moving on from the loss. So now you're 8-1. Now you get a home, quote-unquote, tune-up game against Georgia State. It's a very bad Georgia State team. This Georgia State team just came into Auburn Arena with no significant win and haven't really played anybody. Hasn't looked that put together. And they should have put together, especially in the first half. They should have put together.
They were much better than we were in the first half.
So talking about the Georgia State game, yes, Auburn did win the game. It was crucial to win that game, especially the way they did towards the end of the game. 72-64, we win by 8. There's 3 players I want to talk about who I think played good.
Hang on,
okay?
Before you get to the players who played good, let me start off by saying one player didn't play. Coach's decision. Bruce on the pregame radio said KD's not playing tonight. Not hurt. It's my decision. It's a 1-game thing. He should be back for the road trip. You hear rumors. I'm not going to spread rumors. But something happened at practice, and Bruce isn't going to put up with it. And KD's an important player to what we do. KD's important because KD at the end of the games can get you a bucket.
Yeah.
And we didn't have it. So that's a big loss for us not to have KD in the game. So we move on from that. I just want to make sure that was first. Got him out of the way.
So the first guy I want to talk about, and he did not shoot the ball well. He did not shoot the ball well at all. We're just going to talk about 2 because the other one I've got some issues with. I don't have issues with. But Wendell Wendell shot 3 of 9 from the field, 0 of 2 from 3, didn't make a 3, and had 17 points.
It's 11
because he made 11 free throws. He got to the line 15 times. And the only reason he didn't have 19 points was because he missed those final 2 at the end, and then the next possession he gets hurt. And we'll talk about his injury here in a second. But again, just like you said about the Memphis game, those logo threes that he's known for, they're not going in right now. So he took the ball to the basket over and over and over again, and they kept fouling and fouling and fouling, especially early in the game. Like, it was a free throw contest the whole time. So, and Wendell's the guy you want to do that. And I think that's a good sign because he's starting to realize it. I mean, he only took two shots. I mean, but he got 7. He only took two threes. He got 17 points. So I'm impressed by Wendell. We'll talk about his injury here in a little bit, and when we talk about the game. But
he played great. I've got one that I want to talk about, and it's probably the same one.
Yeah, it is the same one. It's definitely the same one.
Jalen Williams. Jalen Williams was a superstar. He was a superstar in that game, and look, he had 20 points on 8 of 11 shooting, 2 of 3 from 3, and 2 for the free throw line. He had 8 defensive rebounds, so he led the team in rebounding. He had an assist. He had 3 blocks and a steal. He was +6. I don't know how it was +6. He was the player that last year when Bruce said after the Miami game, I'm building my offense around this guy.
That's the guy we thought.
That's the player. That's the player that I was like, are you going to build your offense around Jalen? Yeah. You build it around Jalen Williams because and look, he had open threes that he didn't take. And I was like, Jalen, shoot the ball.
No, if I yell shoot at Jalen when he catches the ball one more time,
absolutely.
I've been doing it all season. Every time he catches the ball at the wing, he's looking to pass and reverse the ball, which that's great. That's part of the offense, especially to get it to somebody like Wendell or Zep who can handle the ball better. But Jalen, you are our best offensive player. You may be our best shooter right now. Now that Wendell's not shooting the ball great right now. Wendell's going to get hot. We all know. We all see. Wendell will be fine. Wendell will start making shots. But Jalen, shoot the ball.
Absolutely.
You're the best player on the floor.
Absolutely.
He's outstanding offensively, shooting the ball. That jump hook that we talk about every single time we talk about Jalen, it's absurd. I don't understand how he sees where he is on the court, but he just knows. He makes it every single time. His pull-up jumpers look so weird, but they go in all the time. It looks like Jabari. I'm not comparing the shot because they're not similar at all. But the movement from Jalen and the outcome of the shot looks a lot like the guy who won the 10 last year. But he's got to know that he's the best player on this team. It doesn't look like he's that.
No, he doesn't. He's the guy that likes to get others involved.
Yeah. He's good.
And I love that. He's not selfish. I want him to be a little bit more selfish.
Yeah.
He is. We've called him the Swiss Army knife for 2 years now. He's the Swiss Army knife. He can do everything, but I want him to shoot more. I want him to shoot that hook shot where he's facing the opposite way and just turns and leans in so the guy can't block it.
Yeah.
So he leans in and he has that soft touch, puts the ball up there, and it bounces around a couple times. I also wanted to bring this one up, Dustin. So yes, for the first 9 games, Bruce Pearl was using Chance at the backup 1 behind Wendell.
Yeah.
He seems to have moved him to a backup 2, which I like better. He's more of a slasher. He never looked comfortable with the ball in his hand. He did in Israel. So far this year, he does not look comfortable. Maybe it's the knee. I don't know, but he hadn't looked comfortable bringing the ball up the floor, and especially against pressure.
Yeah.
And he's not shot the ball well. So Bruce said, okay, I'm going to move him to the backup 2, and I'm going to slide Trey Donaldson, and let him try to get a few minutes as the backup 1. And Trey came in, played 18 minutes. He was 2 of 3 from the field goal, 1 of 1 from 3, 1 of 2 from the line. So he had 6 points. He had 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 turnover, and 3 steals. He was what I want in that backup point guard. He's stronger than Chance is. And look, none of this is against Chance Westry. I think Chance Westry may turn into one of the better players on our team eventually. But Trey's a football safety. He plays basketball like a football safety.
Yeah, no, that one play, and Jalen missed that layup when Trey made that safety play, but that looked like what I wanted to see from Smoke Monday back in 2021.
Yeah, he's not Smoke. Trey played great. We got a play where they got a breakaway, and Dylan was down there, and somehow 1-on-2 or 2-on-1, Dylan blocked the shot. Ball came back down. Trey brought it all the way down, laid it in from the left side, and got excited. And then he's getting up in the guy's face. The guy just shoves him, and Trey falls down and gets a charging call. And that really maybe didn't change the momentum, but it sure helped our momentum. Yeah. And so, yes, I agree, Dustin. I think Trey is your backup point guard.
Yeah, when I first thought that Trey might get some minutes tonight, I took it towards, okay, we don't have KD. That's good. He's the backup guard. I don't care which one he is. He's the backup guard. No. Trey proved in this game that he's the backup point guard over Westry. And look, I've been upping Chance since he had 18 and 7 steals in Israel. He had knee surgery. That's a hard thing to have. And I'm not, a lot of his struggles don't look like they're because of the knee surgery. They just look like he's not confident. He doesn't see how he fits in right now. We're throwing a lot at him. Bruce talked about we need to get him to a single position. I think that he'll be the backup 2 or 3, depending on how you work KD and him in that. But I don't. He's not there yet. And Trey, the difference between Trey and Chance is Trey is physically there. Not only did he not have knee surgery, but he's a football safety. Chance is not.
Safety, yeah.
And Trey plays aggressive. Trey plays over the rim. He's not a under the rim type of point guard like we've seen, like Wendell and Jared. Jared was kind of over the rim. Javon and Sharif, they were very under the rim. No, Trey plays over the rim, which means like it technically means if there's a breakaway, Wendell's going to lay the ball up. Trey's going to throw it down as hard as he wants. But to put it into context, it means if Wendell's going up against a 6'11" guy, he's going to try and make a move to go around him. Trey's going to try and go over him. And that's just how it is. That's just the difference in the games. That has nothing to do with bad or good or either way. So, but that's the kind of point guard you need to have in that backup slot. And Trey, the one thing I had, discussions with Trey was he stopped fouling the 3-point shooters.
He did it 3 times. I'm like, dude, I love your aggressiveness, and I want you to be aggressive out here. Not like that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't foul a jump shooter. Yeah. Ever. It's cardinal rule. You learned that in first grade. Don't foul a jump shooter. I want to bring it up one more time because we said we'd talk about it in this game. The rebounding was atrocious. All right, so when we're on defense and we're playing defense, we've got to have all 5 guys rebound. We can't try to leak guys out. We're not good at – we don't have a dominant rebounder that's going to get every rebound that your guards can leak out and try to get a breakout. Yeah. Our guards – and Wendell's a good rebounder. I'm not saying that we're not. but it was 35-26. They are rebounding Auburn in Neville Arena by 9 rebounds after a game that we got out rebounded, and it may have cost us the game.
Yeah.
So I'm a little surprised that wasn't corrected. And look, Georgia State didn't have a guy that should have been able to rebound with us.
Memphis did.
Memphis had that. Georgia State didn't. We have Cardwell had 3 rebounds. He's got to get 9 or 10. Moore had 3 rebounds. Broom had
7
rebounds.
And Jalen had 8.
Jalen Williams had 8 boards. And if it's not for Jalen Williams, Georgia State comes in there and beats Auburn. And it's not that close. So, Broom, and let me hit on Broom real quick. He started off slow. He's been missing almost every one of his shots. Towards the end of the game, I think he found something and started making some of those shots. He ended up with
13 points.
13 points.
6 of 8.
So he's getting better. He's got to make free throws. His free throw,
they're so bad.
They're bad.
It's
so rebounding and free throws, I think our defense will be fine. It will get us through what we need to get through. We got to rebound, but you got to finish the possessions. And the way you finish a defensive possession is with a board. You got to come down with the boards.
Yeah.
Offense, they're open shots.
Look, you scored 72 points. You scored 73 against Memphis and lost. You scored 72 against Georgia State and won. Just like we said when we were talking about Memphis, scoring 70s, between 70 and 75, you're going to win most of your games due to your defense and how good your defense could be if you block shots, if your guards are aggressive, if your guards aren't fouling, especially three-point shooters, Trey. But I hit him 3 times. That was all 3 of his fouls. That's funny. But
no, it's not funny. It wasn't funny for me during the game. I didn't laugh at those at all. I was like, seriously, Trey, and it wasn't close.
No.
He's like running over them.
Into him,
He's getting all he wants.
Yeah, so no, okay. The only game, the only teams that I think if you score 70 to 75 points that you don't beat this year are Alabama, Tennessee, and Kentucky.
Maybe Arkansas.
I think you beat Arkansas because the only time you play them is very soon. You play them
in a couple weeks
in Neville Arena. I think you beat Arkansas if you score 75. But you don't beat either of those 3 any of the times. Alabama will sweep you, and Tennessee will sweep you.
I have news for you. We're not scoring 75 against that Tennessee team unless something changes.
Yeah,
they're leading the nation in defense. So,
yeah, that's the difference right there. So,
it's going to be a tough.
And then another thing you mentioned, I want to talk about the free throw shooting. The free throw shooting is bad. 63% in this game. It was okay against.
It was
Memphis.
good against Memphis. It was like, well,
and this was
79% against Memphis, and then we come home and shot what?
63%, 19 of 30, and Wendell misses the most shots. But he also shot like more than quadruple the amount of free throws that everybody else shot. He went 11 of 15. Broom goes 1 of 4.
Oh.
And the 3 he missed weren't close. Cardwell goes 1 of 2. It's gravy when those 2 make free throws. It's unreal.
It's really bad.
Alan Flanagan goes 2 of 3. We don't expect him to miss free throws. No. Trey goes 1 of 2. I think he's a good free throw shooter. And then let's talk about the one guy that I want to talk about before we kind of preview the West trip before Christmas.
You're gonna make me sad, aren't
you? Johan. What is going on with him? He's a 5-star. He's a 5-star player. He's the number 2 ranked player to ever walk through the building, behind the guy who's currently tearing up the NBA for the Houston Rockets.
Yeah.
Not only does he not look aggressive, he doesn't look confident at all. He doesn't show any emotion, and that may just be how he is. I mean, that's not a bad thing, but it's part of the problem. I don't get it. We watched the same person in Israel.
Yeah, he had one game where he scored the first 12 points.
He had 20 points in that game.
Yeah.
And we talk about how he needs to be better rebounding the ball and being in better positions and obviously be more aggressive. Like, he's got to know that he's the 5-star. He's the guy that people are going to game plan for, especially coming off the bench. I wouldn't game plan for him.
I'd be like, let him do whatever you want. Look,
I just don't understand what's happening.
He had 1 point on 0 of 2 shooting with a free throw, 1 of 2 from the line. Other than that, he had 1 personal foul.
That's it.
In 12 minutes. And I know the kid. Look, nothing against the kid.
He's only been playing basketball.
He's only been playing basketball for a few years. But when you have the kind of accolades that he got while playing high school ball, you expect him to come in here a little bit more ready to play. And he played the 5 in high school. And he's not playing the 5 right now. But he's not going to get minutes at the 5 in front of Broom or Cardwell. So he's got to play the 4, and we need points at that position. He's backing up Jalen Williams, and Jalen's figured it out. I've got it. You're right. He's not aggressive. He looks like when he shoots that he goes, well, I hope that goes in. And I'm like, can't fire it and hope. We've got to shoot it or take it to the bucket and be strong with it. Yeah. He can jump. He's not good defensively right now.
No,
he's not rebounding. He's 6'10". He's got 0 rebounds. You're 6'10", and you did not get a rebound. It's against Georgia State. You're going to play against dudes that are a lot better than anybody on that Georgia State.
Look, we get in the SEC play, and I'm just completely disregarding West and playing 2 really good Pac-12 schools. But once you get in the SEC, you're not going to play a team from here on that don't have the athletes, that don't have the studs, that don't have the Jimmys and Joes. You're not going to play a team that doesn't have it, unless we do play South Carolina. And they got the number 1 player in the country. G.G. Jackson will be a top pick. I mean, they're terrible. We're a horrible basketball team,
but that 4 slot, they're pretty damn good.
They got the Jimmys and Joes. So
I don't know what
you're just not going to be able to just back anyone down anymore. And I'll alliterate what Dustin was saying in the comments just a second ago. It's the reason I was laughing while you were talking, Dad. He's exactly right. He just doesn't look like he has any want to be out there. And Dustin said it perfectly, but
look, we compared him at the beginning of the year to an early on Chuma Okeke.
Yeah.
Right now, he can't hold Chuma's jockstrap. Chuma was much better than this as a sophomore, as a freshman. Yeah. So, that being said, I've seen him be successful in Israel. That's the guy I want. That's the guy Auburn is going to need to compete in the SEC. Without that 4 slot, that backup 4 slots, we've got good. I like bringing Trey into the backup to the 1. I love bringing KD in as a backup to the 2. I love bringing Allen off the bench as a backup to the 3, although he did not play well the other night.
No, but yeah.
I love bringing Cardwell in as a backup to the 5. You're 6'10". I need a board out of you. I need 5 boards next game. And let's talk about next game because we're running a little over.
We're running a little low on time. You're about to have to leave and go get dinner. So we're going to talk a little bit about both, but I'm going to throw to you to talk. Give me something on USC. Obviously, you play Sunday. I believe we play at 2.
That sounds right. At Southern Cal, a lot of the Los Angeles Auburn Club is doing a Tiger Walk for them. So I watched them play a little bit in one of the preseason tournament games. Got a kid named Drew Peterson. They call him a guard. He's 6'9". He is a stretch 3 or 4. He likes to get the ball in the perimeter and pump fake and go to the bucket. He's a good player. Drew Peterson, he's one of their captains. So, yeah, he's a good player. Boogie Ellis, guard, 3, also a good player. Transfer from Memphis. Drew Peterson transferred from Rice. And then they do have a 7-1 kid. I don't know if he plays much. I will not try to pronounce his name because it's spelled IWUCHUKWU. That's a lot of U's. We're going to call him Vincent. That's his first name. So they've got some dudes. Southern Cal's always going to have some dudes. Like you said, everybody's going to have the Jimmys and the Joes. But this is a game that Auburn should win. Do we have Wendell Green playing? At the end of that game, he went down with either an ankle or a foot issue. Coach in his press conference the other day said he's day to day. He needs to be day on that day. We need him to play. Without him playing,
it's a very losable game.
That's a very losable game. It's losable anyway because you're on the West Coast. Things are different. You haven't played a true road game yet. We are, I think Bruce said, definitely the only school in the SEC that will play 3 true road games non-conference. Play USC and Washington this next week, and then we will travel to West Virginia for the Big 12.
I didn't think about that. I was like, we only have 2 more, right?
3 true road games in the non-conference. If we can go 2-1 in those games, that's a good tournament resume builder. So
I agree.
It's something that you look at. Southern Cal, they're going to have players. They're always going to have players. They've not been great this year. I've not been real impressed watching him. The Peterson kid's good, but he's 6'9" and can handle it. I think Allen could slow him down.
Yeah.
So Allen's big and strong and plays elite defense. Get out there, slow that kid down. He's their player.
Yeah, so I think you nailed it right on the head there. And then Washington, you play on Wednesday night.
So return.
That's interesting. This is a return trip. I hope they don't put our bus on fire like you just did then.
I don't think we did that.
But
that bus did catch on fire.
That was they came in ranked in the Auburn Arena, very, very hot, and we were ranked 2. That was the start of the Final Four year. Yeah. He's gonna go get Dare ready. That was the start of the Final Four year, and then we just demolished them that year. So, but we'll be back next week or later next week to discuss that right after this Washington game, right before Christmas. I hope all y'all have a Merry Christmas. We'll be back before Christmas, and then right after we get right into SEC play, starting with Florida at home on the 28th. So super excited for that and to continue this. Thank you guys so much for joining us live here on the Jungle Show. This is a long one. It's a good one. But we'll plan on doing the exact same thing next week. Thank you all. If you want to find all the amazing stuff on Auburn Daily, go to @TheAuburnDaily on Twitter or auburndaily.com. Or you can find me on Twitter @Chris Oldenburg or him on Twitter @WarEagleHoops. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for listening again. War Eagle.